see you either.
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, we are live. We are back, and we are joined by two of Tenuity's finest digital nomads, Jackie and Andrew. Welcome back to the Growth Lab.
My goodness, it is an absolute pleasure to be with you again, Hans. Thanks for having us back. I feel like Encore makes me, I extra dusted Jackie's shoulders off in a very socially distant, appropriate, remote way after the invite came through.
Glad to have you guys back. So I'm just going to put you on the spot right away. Jackie, you are in an elevator. A merchant asks you, how can I crush my content this Black Friday, Cyber Monday? What do you tell her?
I think that you can crush your content this Black Friday, Cyber Monday with a simple, straightforward offer that's better than any other offer you've offered this year.
There you have it, folks. That's all we have for you. Join us again next week. No, just kidding. All right, Andrew, you're up. Okay, you're on a bus. You're just about to get off. A lady asks you, or a merchant asks you, how can I improve my content this Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
What a wonderful question. I would say take what's performed the best over the last 12 months, especially over Q4 2019, and just kick it up a notch. What performed at the highest possible rate, and just make it mo better with a mo better offer, and you'll be crushing it.
I like it. Awesome. Jackie, is that a ukulele behind you?
Yes, it is, Hans, and no, I won't play it.
Are you serious?
Not. Yeah, I'll save it for the after show.
All right. Well,
the Andrew and Jackie after show.
All right. If you can play G or C for me, I would love that.
Did you want the C or G chord, Hans? Anything for you. Ready?
All right. Let's hear it.
Drum. How's my audio come through?
It's pretty good.
Then, yeah, that's it. That's all we've got for today. Because I can only play 4 chords. It's lucky that 4 is all you need. This is not a music class, though. This is about emails.
All right, so give it up for Jackie, everyone, and Andrew as well. And we will be sharing a full replay of today's session. If you haven't already, check out our Growth Lab community on Facebook. I'll be dropping a link to that in the chat as well. And otherwise, take it away, guys.
Excellent. Well, Hans was predicting that I'd say that, I believe. So we are absolutely thrilled to be speaking with you all today. We understand that your time is uber valuable. And we also understand that we are on the precipice of Q4. Feels like we're in Q4 almost, but we just got to be patient for another day here, I think, before we can get that feeling solidified. So thrilled to be speaking with you about the email content masterclass for creating content that performs this Q4. Now, as we're diving in, before I get too deep, I'd love to hear who was on the previous, was anybody here on our previous presentation that Jackie and I did, just to understand if there's overlap or you're all bright new minds here. In addition, I'll go through a little bit of background on our end. So Jackie and I both have the privilege to work at Tenuity, the largest independent performance marketing agency across the trifecta of Google, Amazon, Facebook, and beyond. Over 650 employees. We manage over $1.5 billion in spend annually. And we have a #1 award-winning culture. Ad Age Best Place to Work in 2019, 2020. We just won the Inspiring Workplaces Award yesterday. And we work across pretty much all major verticals except for website design and podcasting. Anything performance marketing oriented, whether or not that's on the paid media side or that's on the retention side. In which today we're talking predominantly about CRM and email marketing, of course, and creative services. A little bit more about us. So we have been passionately in love with Shopify for quite a long while, and have the privilege to work with hundreds of Shopify clients across the board, including some of the most notable brands and some of the fastest growing D2C brands in the space, including Bombas, Pure Vita bracelets, Blenders Eyewear, Cuts Clothing, Bull and Branch, and the list goes on. And why did Hans call us the Tenuity's finest nomads? Because weirdly enough, Jackie Rivera is currently calling into this presentation from her converted van, #van life. And I have formerly lived, and this is parked in my driveway now, in a converted school bus with my family as well. So that said, I'll give you a little bit of my background. So I started at Tenuity just under 7 years ago, heading up business development for the CRM and email team, and have been here ever since, most recently moving over to strategic partnerships, in which I get to build relationships and hang out with cool people like Hans, and enjoy the beautiful ecosystem, staying on the cutting edge. And then Jackie, take it away.
Yes, I'm Jackie Rivera. I've been at Tenuity for just over 3 years now, and I'm a strategist. So I work kind of really closely with email programs, which kind of makes Andrew and I a really good partnership when we come in and have these conversations, because Andrew really sees this big high level, and I'm kind of in the weeds with clients day over day. So really, we have so much information in here for you guys, and hopefully we can provide some value for you.
So what are we talking about today? Obviously, as we brush up on Q4 of 2020, this is probably the most anticipated Q4 that I've ever been a part of by far. And I think it's because this year has been, I said weird because I was going to say weird, but this year has been so unique unto itself. So we're really, really thrilled for what's to come in Q4. And there's a lot of anticipation, positive, negative anticipation, but all together. What we're going to discuss is how to determine the promotion that works for your biggest sales of the year, how to stand out in the inbox when it's ultra crowded during this time, how many emails should you be sending during Q4, and then how to segment your list to ensure you're targeting the right subscribers. So we went over this in our last presentation, but I think before diving into anything, it's always good to think about why email. Why is CRM and email such a critical part of the infrastructure of a D2C brand and a retail brand in general? And that's because email marketing is the most used channel for marketers worldwide, the #1 digital tactic to drive retention, #1 tactic to drive acquisition, and ROI positive 4 times more than social media, direct mail, and paid search, 5 times more than online display. And the majority of folks, younger folks, basically, if we're looking at millennials and Gen Z, we believe that email is powerful, is persuasive, is more enticing than social media or other forms of media altogether. So taking a step back now that we know that email is not only not dead, but alive, well, kicking, and thriving, what do we know about the 2020 shopping season? So we have the privilege here at Tenuity to have a research team as well as an analytics team who puts together research reports, not only for our internal use, but also for external use, and extremely comprehensive guides. One of which, is that a call from my computer? Sorry about that. One of which is holiday shopper survey. So this is something that we'll send out after this presentation so that you can take a look at it as well. But basically what we found from our shopper survey is that over half of consumers plan to shop online exclusively this holiday season. Almost 90% learn about holiday sales through online advertising, and over 90% want to see deals and sales in advertisement creative. Moving on, media obviously influences consumers. So what are the most enticing calls to action that we've been able to gain from our database? Free day 2 shipping, coupon codes, free returns, free shipping on orders over $50. And you can see these risk reversal items as well as these instant gratification items really are driving calls to action heavily, not only during this time, but throughout. Creative preferences. So when we're talking about Q4 and we're talking about holiday spending, people want to see discount. So they want to see deals or sales in an ad. They want to see shipping incentives. Free shipping is a great offer across the board. And they want to see diversity within ads. If you're showing me the same ad 18 times, it's a lot less enticing than if you're showing me multiple ads that are being filtered in and out along the way. And then influencer impact. So 27% say influencers somewhat impactful, 35% say they have little impact, and 23% say they have no impact. Now, I will caveat that by folks educated in the space, maybe a little bit cynical of influencers, but influencers still are something that can be utilized powerfully for your brand, for getting the word out, as well as for gaining that ever valuable UGC. When we dive into time-bound sales, so shopping PLA ads have been majorly driving conversions during this time period. Now, I know we're talking about email predominantly here, but I thought that the findings from this could be super valuable from you. And almost 60% of shoppers say that they're incentivized to purchase sooner than planned when presented with time-bound sales. And then the best ways to promote time-bound sales, email, first and foremost, and then text messages. And I did see a question: is the data was gathered from a survey of your business's own employees? Yes, is the answer for some of the survey results. But in addition to that, this is actually culling from our database as well, which brings in advertising data throughout our entire database. So there are some questions that were actually voluntarily stated by 330 employees, but other data is actually aggregated from clients from what we're actually seeing within accounts. And then consumer trends and sentiment. So 76% of consumers reported increasing use of smartphones or mobile devices. As we know, and really has been being preached for as long as I've been in this business, is mobile first is the future. I think in 2011, Mark Zuckerberg said Facebook is a mobile first organization. And basically since then, everything should be being created with mobile first in mind. That continues. 30% of consumers surveyed report using store pickup more than usual. So in-store pickup and order ahead are becoming ever more popular. Most shoppers will spend as much or more than last year. 8 in 10 shoppers plan to spend the same or more than last year. And then almost 40% of shoppers were interested in shopping local to help local businesses survive during this wild and crazy time that we're living in today. So the first kind of pillar that we're looking at is how can you use Q4 of 2019 to look towards Q4 of 2020. And Jackie, I believe you have something to say about this.
I do, and Andrew, I think it's almost pretty similar to like what you answered on that bus that one time. Basically, we typically use 2019 to look forward to anything that we're doing in 2020. If you are just doing things in 2020, don't worry. These are only relevant for people who had a 2019 campaign, but in 2019 to 2020, we'll touch on this first, 20% increase in campaigns sent per week for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Obviously, discounts were crazy across the board. 90% of people are expecting discounts and looking for discounts throughout this period of time. Really important to have them in there. And Cyber Monday of 2019 brought in $9.4 billion, and we are anticipating it to exceed that this year.
So crazy growth. So Jackie, when are the quote unquote holidays in Q4 2020?
Yeah, Andrew, these are the holidays. So a lot of people look at this calendar and they're like, when should I be sending out an email? When should I be doing stuff? And I almost want you to take these holidays and like take them with a grain of salt, because this is not it for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's holiday months that's coming up for a full holiday Q4. So pretty much anything you do throughout this period of time should be attributed to your holiday efforts and really focused in on a holiday promotional type of mindset.
Indeed. And we actually had some breaking news happen in the last couple of days, which is what this next slide is about here. So wildly enough, anyone here, do you advertise and have products on Amazon, on Walmart, or on Target, or do distribution through those channels? And you guys can answer that on your own. But as you may have heard, on Sunday, Amazon officially announced Amazon Prime Day this year is October 13th and 14th, which is, just eating away at the very beginning of this holiday season. Secondly, Walmart yesterday announced that they're going to have a big save online event from October 11th through 15th. And then today, Target announced that they're going to be doing a deal days on October 13th and 14th. Now, there's a couple things that I think are significant here. Everyone who's responded, or a couple of you, it sounds like you don't sell on these channels. One of the interesting things is, because we do manage these channels as well for brands, is that Amazon is a dominant portion of business right now, entirely and completely. And then with marketplaces, Walmart is kind of the next major player, Target the next major player after that. So these three kind of behemoths who are already capturing as much brand dollars and competition up front are really going at Q4 to get you trained and onto their platforms. So not only if you're not selling on them, then make sure that you're cognizant that this is occurring right now, and understand that the consumers are already getting kind of in this buying mindset, primed earlier than maybe ever before in history thus far. And then for folks that do sell on Amazon or Walmart or Target, make sure that you have appropriate deals set up in order to promote this time period as well. So
yeah, and I think just historical context on Prime Day quickly, because I do see 8% of people are looking like they're coming in on the poll who are on Amazon. Prime Day, I'm sure some people know this, but historically has been in July. It was pushed because of the things that were happening in the economy and with social justice during that period of time. It was pushed to later on in the year, and now they waited until probably this Sunday to announce this. So this has been really new, and a lot of brands are reacting. And why this is relevant to your email program is because these two periods of time, even if you're not an Amazon seller, even if you're not a Walmart seller, have an opportunity to be in the inbox with deals when people are anticipating them. And I think that's one of the most important things, although maybe you're like, what, this doesn't matter to me, I don't care, like I don't have any products on Amazon. I think it's still a really good opportunity to run a preliminary promotion that could compete in the inbox with Prime Day, like free shipping or free 2-day shipping or something along those lines.
Indeed. And I think that also just capturing the buying mood is the other facet. When folks are thinking about purchasing something from somewhere, if you're representing someone else that gives an option for purchase during that time, it's huge. So definitely presence. So how to determine the promotion that works for your biggest sales of the year? What is that question that we need to ask ourselves, Jackie?
You have to ask yourself exactly what to the lady in the elevator. What is your best offer? Is it and what is my best offer? And Andrew and I talked about this a little bit earlier, but basically what is my best offer looks like, what is the best offer that I can literally actually offer? In Andrew and I initially talked about how this presentation is more so for people who are looking to discount throughout the Black Friday, Cyber Monday period of time, or who are looking to do holiday discounts or things along those lines. Like, this is really like what you would do if you're like a typical brand. If you're not a typical brand and you're not doing promotions, then this doesn't pertain to you necessarily, but definitely looking into what my best offer is for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you have to bring your A game. So determine what it is best for you first and foremost.
Yes, and I saw Stacy in the chat said, if I'm not planning to do a big sale during this time, does that mean I shouldn't bother since 90% of people are looking for a sale?
Are you planning on doing a sale, Stacy? Because if you're planning on doing any sales, then I think it's relevant to be in the inbox. And I additionally think it's relevant to be in the inbox throughout this whole entire period of time to keep your brand top of mind. although I don't know if you're going to get high performance and conversion, I think it's important to monopolize on that psychographic that Andrew was talking about, of like people being in the buying mindset, and being ready to buy and being primed to buy because it's the time of year. I think that's pretty important, to just be present. Then, so should we be raising our product prices so that we can afford to offer sales during these times? Okay, that's definitely a way to do it, I guess. I don't know if that's necessarily the way that I would say structure your pricing, but I do think that there's different ways to offer sales and promotion this period of time. It's to $% off, buy more, save more. There's also bundles. You can do different bundles. You can do doorbusters. You can do deals of the week. You can do like a free gift with purchase where you buy something off of Alibaba and just include it with every product purchase. You can give somebody a $10 gift card toward their next purchase throughout like December or something along those lines. There's so many different offers that if your program isn't like straightforward promotional, like here's 50% off, it's our best offer, woohoo, then there's different ways that you can get creative. Just like Adriana said in there, you can do a promotion without doing a sale. And anybody who does have like loyalty rewards points, anybody who has like referral programs or things along those lines, it's also a great time to offer like partnerships and incentives and things along those lines. You could do double points. You could do points for any like engagement on social media or things like that. You can do partnerships with other brands where other brands might be offering, like that you decided to partner. Like buy with us 10% off of this other brand. So that's a great way to build a community, and just kind of community values and things like that can help.
Yeah, and I do think that in regards to like raising product prices so that we can afford offering sales during this time period, I think that that's kind of like a business strategy decision entirely completely. Now, we work with a lot of like entrepreneurs. We also work with a lot of kind of mega enterprises. Obviously, when we're talking entrepreneurs on a more D2C level and like fast growth brands, I think that getting your pricing right is something that you're massaging out a lot in the early days, in the early months, in the early years, potentially also. I think that you raising a price for discount, though, can give the wrong message to your client base, especially when we're talking about email, especially when we're talking about communicating things over a long period of time. So as long as you can do it in a way that like makes sense for you, I think that it could be okay. But I've seen a lot of negative flack from brands that have done that historically. So I would just say tiptoe through it while you're doing it. And I do think that Jackie brings up, dollars off, % off is what everybody thinks of. You get those like crazy Macy's ads with like up to 95% off everything in the store. And then you go there and it's an additional 75% off. And it's very confusing why everything's so on sale. But if you built your brand properly and powerfully, and you're building on top of that, I think buy more, save more is what I always consider to be the most enticing thing to offer for almost any kind of sale, just because it also builds up your customer lifetime value. You're incentivizing people on a tiered structure. When they spend more, then you give them a greater discount also. So maybe that can work for your business if you do want to give an offer as well.
We can tap into like some examples too if you want to quickly. So like the people who do buy more, save more, who are in the luxury retail space would be like a Nordstrom or like a Majuri jewelry. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but if you're not on Majuri's email list, you need to get on Majuri's email list immediately because their emails are incredible and beautiful, and they only do one offer per year over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and it is a tiered offer. It's just a really great like case study. Same with Nordstrom. And I think things like that really work pretty well. I think there's also like subscription services that do like a buy more, save more now in like bundle type things that you can definitely utilize. And Andrew, if you have any additional examples that you can think of at any point, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but you can throw some in there.
So I think that we have a lot of email examples that we could probably send with like an attachment to this presentation on buy more, save more. But it's just in general, and I know that there's a lot of brands that we worked with last year specifically that we ended up doing a lot of tiered discount pricing. And I also have a class specifically on customer lifetime value in the Shopify Compass Shopify Compass page that I go through buy more, save more as an option for increasing your customer lifetime value that you guys can go through as well. So the tenets of your best offer should be simple and straightforward, as Jackie would tout, making it as easy to understand as possible, as easy to take action on as possible is absolutely critical. It should be better than any other single offer that you've had this year as well. So we're obviously talking about, if you're going to be discounting during this time frame. So your offer should be as good as it gets. Make it strong, make it powerful, make it standalone, make it high converting, and then competitive not only within your own industry, but across the industries, because you're not just competing with your own industry right now, you're actually competing with literally every single other store that's out there right now.
Absolutely.
I was expecting you to say something, but then you didn't. You didn't.
No, you said my whole spiel. But I got a question in here. So our philosophy is buy less, buy better, but free shipping works great for us. I think free shipping, if you know that it works great for you, that's awesome. Take into account some of the COVID concerns that we've had with shipping this year. If you cannot deliver, do not promise. So be very careful about that because of all of the delays that have been taking place within that space this year. So free shipping, if you say like free ground shipping, like question mark, 10 days or something like that, then that's fine. But I wouldn't overpromise on like 2-day shipping because I do think there will be delays throughout this period of time. On the plus side, people are open to that and understand that because we did just live through a global pandemic. People were having shipping issues and people are a lot more okay with things being slower. So just make sure that you communicate it.
Yeah, and I think Frankie also, what the question behind the question of our philosophy is buy less, buy better stuff, which hopefully is like a universal consumer sentiment as we move on here as well. But I think that
it's not.
Well, I think that buy less, buy better. What you need to be communicating then is your value proposition. So making sure that you have an ironclad value proposition and making sure that your product is identified as 10x improvements in various ways or however many improvements it actually is, and really focusing on like not being throwaway other things that other things are, etc. So really getting concrete in your messaging in order to align with your company's value proposition and philosophy makes sense. And then free shipping, of course, is something that the people are going to react positively to without overpromising next day when you don't know, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
So when we're thinking broadly, month to month here in Q4, Jackie, how do we structure our promotions during this time?
So when I look at Q4, I look at 3 main key points month over month. So like the first month in October, we look at acquisition. We want to load our list as much as we can throughout the month of October for November when we are sending out our big promotions. So we have different promotions that help us acquire different people. That could be refer a friend programs. That could be rewards programs to increase people like value signing up for your list. It could be a preliminary sale that encouraged people to come in and buy. It could be a sale that you're offering just on your site. It could be overlays that are site. Have like when somebody comes to your site as a new time visitor and you say something like get on the list now and then receive early access to Black Friday, Cyber Monday offers. That's a great way to do it. So there's a lot of different ways that really play into email just from an email acquisition standpoint. Now your upper funnel and your lower funnel and all different types of funnels that you have going on through like all of your Google ads and social media and other things that are going to be fueling your site traffic, those are independent from email. And I feel like Andrew and somebody else could probably give you better advice on those, but from an email perspective, I would definitely say go for those overlays and those referral programs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that honestly for list growth, obviously once we're managing an email program and Jackie is obsessively kind of doing every single option that we possibly can, across the board for growing folks' email lists. That makes sense. What the easiest thing to do for brands that are kind of just getting accustomed to email and kind of getting accustomed to like building a list quickly for the first time is thinking about that sort of that interstitial on site. So a technology like Justuno or Privy could be utilized, but basically on-site interstitials can get anywhere from 3% of site visitors all the way up to 10, 12. We've seen ridiculous numbers in the 20s and 30%, but that's probably not as plausible. So just thinking about who's coming to your site, and then are you collecting their email address during that quantity. So those are very, very significant, critical ways to go about it. And then the other things that Jackie stated that I'll kind of underscore a little bit is early access items. So even thinking no promotions wise, if you have new products that are coming out this quarter, then get people signing up for early access, whether that's a social promotion, a promotion that you're already utilizing email for, or just kind of getting the information out there that something big is going to happen. I think is a big motivational driver during that time period. So acquisition before any huge sale period is super critical. It obviously goes from October and straight through the end of the year, but getting started early and or immediately is definitely top of mind. So you want to break this down a little bit further and make us feel all warm and fuzzy about our next 3 months of work, Jackie?
Yeah, first we maintain people by bringing them in, that like make sure that your list is super clean, make sure that everything is set up and ready to go, and then bring people in for your promotions. Launch all of your promotions throughout the month of November. I've had a lot of people talk to me about doing like a full Cyber November and a full Black Friday deals November. I think that's a great idea. As much as you can, emphasize gifting, self-gifting, and shopping early throughout this period of time. So play those shopping like in debt to your advantage. Getting things early is going to make people feel better, and additionally, shopping online and e-commerce is going to make people feel better, especially in the coronavirus times that we're in right now. I've listed all of the holidays beneath that. And then after you've blasted people with Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales, you want to make sure that you could keep all of those people on your list by retaining them. So you want to give them good offers, but you also want to pull back on how much you're sending. So you don't want to continuously just blast people with emails through the end of the year. You want to make sure you're still giving them strong offers that are going to help them stay with different tools such as like your loyalty rewards program, your refer a friend program, and utilizing different things such as Giving Tuesday to show that you have brand values, or free shipping day to get people gifts in time for the holidays, to keep them really engaged and on your list so you don't have a high opt-out rate after holiday.
Yeah, and I do think that like thinking of grow, promote, and then retain is critical. And December, and Jackie will go through more examples here upcoming, but when you're thinking of December, think of, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday shenanigans, right? It's crazy. It's an intense period of time. And then afterwards, you mostly just don't want those folks to all become actively disengaged, while also making sure that you're collecting the opportunities that you can prior to what's the deadline for shipping for your brand specifically. So digging into that is a huge portion of it. And then Jackie, standing out in the inbox with optimized messaging. I feel like you probably just went through all of these out loud without a slide in front of you. But what do we have? What do we have for sample content in order to entice people?
Right. So we're just gonna like start to test out live promotions in October. So out like our things that make our program great and that make people want to be a part of it. So we're going to focus on acquisition. We're going to focus on any new releases, because we do not want to be releasing new releases on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, because that's just going to get really lost within the messaging. And then we also want to do sale teasers. So if you want to do like a click to go VIP, a click to go early access, buy now and get early access to the Black Friday, Cyber Monday offer. Those are all really great strategies that you can employ through this. And then on the next slide, I have some examples, and y'all can just take these examples back. The Black Friday, Cyber Monday examples are really the ones that I want to get to. So this is some October sample content, and you'll have this in the deck so that you guys can take a look at it afterward. November sample content, I'd say, is probably the most important here. We want to make sure that it's shining. We want to make sure that it's e-commerce focused, making sure that we're doing like all cyber everything, communicating better and on safety of online shopping during this time is huge. And then we want people to feel like VIPs. So everything that we did in October was basically handcrafted to make them feel special. So early access to sales, unlocking VIP promotions, any of those teaser messages that we were talking to, we really want to put those into play in November. And then we want to hit them with our promotions. We already talked about the way we're going to structure our promotions. Most people do a percentage off and most people do a flat percentage off. That is the most simple and straightforward way to structure a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. There's additional ways that you can add in nuances that work right for your program, but definitely do your research as to what you're seeing within your industry before you go ahead and make a determination as to what you're planning on doing. And then additionally, hitting them with promos of bundles or special deals or things like that along the whole entire month can be really, really helpful. And that is pretty much how I would structure our November, but the content is really key here. So we'll switch into content. Just some samples, really simple, straightforward content. We're doing holiday gift guides. We're focusing in on straightforward offers, gifting examples. If you want to keep going, these are all just going to be in here for you. I have pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals of a campaign that I ran with one of my clients last year where we did 3 deals that led into a 50% off Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. Everything kind of looked the same, had the same look and feel, but we launched a new deal every single week, which is kind of cool. Worked really well for them. Thanksgiving creative really launches off Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Early access, Thanksgiving is the day when Black Friday, Cyber Monday typically does launch, so make sure that you are involved in sending at least something out on Thanksgiving. If it's not an offer, then at least just a happy Thanksgiving email. Black Friday creative should be simple and not emphasis and too much going on in someone's inbox for them to be like, wow, I really liked that GIF and those 30 products that they listed in their Black Friday email. They're not going to pay attention to it. So as fast as you can get them onto your website and shopping, that is what we are looking for.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'll interject here as well, on the previous email had like the gift guide on there. So one of the things that we really saw working extremely successfully, I think starting 4 or 5 years ago, was stealing from like direct mail, like sending a catalog in the mail, is actually a curated gift guide. So obviously we're coming up on very little time here, but thinking about like what products of yours go together into like a really nice bundle and how can you merchandise that in a holiday way all together. And so those could all be really pleasant reminders of the entire ecosystem that you're selling together as one whole unit. In addition to that, you can also create a page on your site potentially, which actually has that all curated. So maybe that becomes your homepage, or maybe that's an additional page on your Shopify site, but where it has like the same imagery, it has the same color tone, it has that holiday spirit, and it's recommendations for who it's for or how it actually comes across as an interesting option. And then I will not click through links and Cyber Monday creative.
Yeah, I'm going to answer Dan's question first. He said, we found a lot of success in pre-release, pre-order products. Yes, always. It's a really, really great way to glean any information about demand and if people actually like it. It's so much better than just launching something and it flopping, especially during this period of time. So I think anything that you can do pre-order, consider that. And then any suggestions on price points for all bundle really depends on your brand. Discount should sit anywhere between 25 to 50% off of what you would typically charge for each individual item in the bundle. Cyber Monday creative. Looking at kind of just the same type of thing on Cyber Monday, it becomes so much more cybery. I don't know why I feel like that. It just comes way more like internet driven. A lot of people use countdown timers. I love a good countdown timer. So if you have the opportunity to throw a countdown timer in there, a countdown timer on your site, those are really, really great things to incite the urgency that people are using to kind of motivate those purchases through Cyber Monday.
What?
I have another thing in here, another non-discount tactic we've seen great success with is gifting catalog for gifts under $10, $25, and $50. A curated catalog. Love a shop by price. We all love a shop price. Everybody loves it. There's gifts for different people in your life that could be your mom gets the most expensive one, your friend gets the medium expensive one, and then like your child's teacher or something like that gets the least expensive one. So there's really great ways to tie personas to those shop by price points that make sense for a lot of different people. So I would definitely go forth on moving with that one, especially in November and December. So make sure that you're doing it for both months. Which is another thing we're going to talk about for December sample content. Retention, promotion, and preparation. So retention, we want to make sure that we're keeping the people who might be falling off and avoid a high opt-out rate. So make sure that you incentivize, like my favorite one is that if you spend money during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you get a discount later. So incentivize people to come back and purchase again with you so that they are not just falling off of your list. Give them a reason to shop. Looking at gift cards, always making sure that we have those countdown timers in there because we are getting closer to Christmas and any type of holidays that are happening throughout that period of time, and then free shipping and free shipping focused things throughout this period of time. Once again, set those timelines and deadlines adequately, but those are all really good focal points. And then preparation, 2021 and the reopening of the economy and using the gift cards that you received. We're not sure when the economy is reopening, but the best part about that is nobody is. So use that to your advantage and build that excitement.
I like that. I like that point of view. And I do think that this is one of the most unique times in history also because there is kind of this additional layer of uncertainty going on here. And we also have the election as well, which we shouldn't necessarily ignore. It doesn't need to be a part of your marketing, but you need to think that people are at home right now or people could be in very high duress, high stress, uncomfortable situations that they've never had to handle before, like you are, like we are as well. So thinking about the empathy of the empathetic situation that needs to be portrayed from you, and also that you should actually feel for your consumers during this time. So make sure that your messages are the ones that are kind of sparking joy in their hearts, and also making sure that it's like clear, straightforward, easy to digest, and positive, because there is so much other stuff kind of going on in the world presently. And then some of the sample content for December, Jackie, show us what it is.
Yeah, really just focusing on no gift, no problem is like one of my favorite messages. So if you have the opportunity to do gift cards, those can be purchased, e-gift cards can be purchased up until the day before Christmas. So they don't even purchase them on Christmas, but they're great gifts to utilize during that period of time. And then definitely just focusing on last minute things and last minute Christmas shopping, emphasizing that people need to get in there and get things shipped to them if they want to gift them. I think there's a lot of consumer sentiment right now, specifically because you might not be able to see people. People are going to feign connection with money and gifts this year because they can't have that connection. So keep that in mind when you are like sending out the products that you're sending and starting to like craft your messaging. People are, just because you can't see them in person doesn't mean they shouldn't get a better gift or whatever, make up for, lost time with an awesome present. I think is a great message.
Yeah, and I think in regards to a gift card specifically, so I normally feel like I need to have like a really fantastic connection on the gifts that I'm giving. But my wife's birthday was even in the beginning of this month, and there was a few things that I bought for her, and then I wanted her to have the option of purchasing her own clothing because she doesn't want me picking that out at all, I don't think. So I think that thinking about gift cards and making sure that you are selling gift cards is a really, really critical part of kind of closing the gap and making sure that you're capturing as many opportunities as possibly exist out there. The other thing is, on top of people maybe closing the gap on purchasing more for others during this time, since they aren't able to see a lot of folks in person. We've seen a trend over the last few years as well for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all the way through December, where people are buying a lot more things that are self-gifting, where they're actually choosing this time of the year, and you may be doing it as well, for things that you want, for things that you want to buy, for things that make you feel better. And so definitely keep that in mind, and don't think about this 100% entirely as everybody buying stuff for other people. Think about it as an opportunity to really highlight the benefits of your product, the voice of your brand, who you are, and how you want to be recognized in the marketplace during this time.
Yeah, Andrew, I got an interesting question in here. Would you apply all the same principles to a business that sells handmade items?
So, I mean, I think that, I love purchasing things off of Etsy. I love purchasing one of a kind of almost anything that I can, so across the board. And I do think that the principles still apply largely all together. So the thought process is, when you are making it by hand, by yourself, your margins are probably a lot more thin, though, I would say. So you may be a little bit more uncomfortable about having the larger discounts, but maybe you make it still a special holiday collection that's specifically that's in reference to kind of like the product lines that you're making. You could still do a gift cards 100% fully and completely. You could still have like a larger discount or a larger event kind of for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then refocus and continue building that relationship in December. So I think that when you're making handmade items, and a lot of it is showing that it is handmade, showing that it is absolutely unique, sharing the stories of why you're doing it and why it's so important and how that craft was honed over time. So Frankie has a question that I think Jackie might like here. Any tips to have people open the email? So I think he's talking subject line pre-header action, emojis, word use, always put in the offer, ?
Okay, never put in the offer. No, don't do it. So I would say the email is the invitation, the website's the party. The subject line is like gossip. Like, so if it's sweet gossip, you want to learn more. So that's the reason why you open up the email. And then when you hear about so we just want to make sure that we never put the offer into the subject line. If you are at the end of a sale and everybody already knows about what your offer is, fine, throw it in there, try to get some low-hanging fruit. We typically don't see any positive results come off of an offer being in a subject line. And emoji versus emoji is a great subject line test to run. See what your audience likes. It's a really specific set of people who buy a really specific set of things that like emojis all the time. I don't know what you sell, so I can't tell you yes or no. Do you recommend one message per email, or can I do no gift, no problem, and self-gift messages? I think it's fine to do like gift guides, like for different personas, and I think it's also fine to do like features on main things. I don't think it either way matters.
Yeah, and I think that the way that we think about an email is kind of hierarchy based as well. So you have your hero image with your primary call to action, and maybe that is what you have standalone as one email, as this like no gift, no problem example. Or if you're looking more at a last minute miracle, this fourth option here, you see that it has like the hero image. There's a lot of tight copy that is difficult to read from this business list, and then it kind of breaks down into separate sections. So perhaps if you do want to combine them, you definitely can. If you do want to merchandise products with that, you definitely can. And there's still a lot of flexibility around the creativity of your emails in order to tell the story that you want to tell. And don't feel restricted by thinking that you need to have it one exact way. I would say more often than not, I actually don't think that this no gift, no problem option is the best a route to go, where it's just one succinct call to action. I think merchandising more heavily than that, still having the categories at the top, still having other best practices with email utilized works. However, for diversifying content for different emails, maybe this is one of your emails and the rest of your emails are a little bit more changed up.
Yeah, I think it all is based on timing. So think about if people can still ship product, get product, and put product into the emails. If it's past the time that your shipping will work, then that's the time to do a standalone gift card.
Yeah, and I think that Yigal here actually wanted us to segue. He was forcing us into it. But before we address his question, I'll address Trisha's. So any thoughts on using caps in the subject line to stand out more? So when you use all caps, what you should be thinking is that you are yelling at someone, maybe aggressively, maybe angrily, maybe really excited, yikes, in some way. But all caps, I think, is generally a no-no and not recommended for anything. But maybe there's one word that you capitalize fully and completely for additional impact in the subject line, or you're utilizing it very strategically. But I would be very, very thoughtful about utilizing all caps, just because the perception of transfer could be seen in a negative light if you do. And then coming back to Yigal, Jackie, what about frequency? Daily blast, PM, recent?
Okay, I have so many things to say. My first thing that I do have to say is if you are planning on using all caps, don't do it always, because deliverability is important. And if you come across as spammy, and it can come across as spammy, it's not just spammy to the person who's receiving the email. It is spammy to the actual person, like to the inbox. So like Gmail and Hotmail and Yahoo will mark your stuff as spam and mark you as a spammy sender, and then your emails won't deliver. They'll just go straight to spam. So always be really, really careful when you're using like giant all caps. Also be really careful if you're using the word sale too many times in your subject lines. You have to be super, super careful with the words that you use, so that you don't come up with somebody spammy, basically. Ben, how many emails? Let's move on.
So before I switch the page here, I wanted to kind of finish Yigal's question here. So recents and non-openers, when does fatigue diminish the return? So I think that first and foremost, what I would like to address is that email fatigue is real, and over deploying emails as a general strategy can be painful. Jackie wrote everything in moderation, which is probably the exact words I should have used. But basically, be considerate of who's receiving the emails. Note that they're not you, that your audience is not necessarily all you, and that they could have different habits. But also don't say, hey, I don't like checking my emails, so you're only going to send one email a month. So there is a happy medium that you need, and especially in Q4, it's a little bit more particular. So before we go to the next slide, Jackie, I would like you to give a recommendation for somebody that sends like once or twice a month. If they send once or twice a month, I don't think that this next slide is as valid to them, but I'd like you to address that first before we get into larger numbers.
Yes, so I would say if you are only sending once or twice a month, or if you are not sending at all, I'd say 6 to 7 emails a month seems fine. 8, maybe. 9, a little crazy.
So what is too much? What was the 2019 average, Jackie? Tell us about it.
Okay, so the 2019 average doesn't apply to the midweek of Black Friday, Cyber Monday was just under 9 emails per week. So that's pretty crazy. That's for people. We do have, like all through Tenuity, we have different thresholds of senders. We have people who send like probably under 8 times a month, 8 maybe or ish. And then we have people who are sending daily plus like more. So there's a big giant mix of people, and you really have to figure out what what works for you. 9 is a little bit crazy. If you're only sending 1 email a month and then you hit somebody with 9 the next month, that is pretty crazy. Unless you feel really confident that you've warmed all of your contacts up appropriately, I would say start slow in October. If you think I could be the type of brand that's going to send every single day, then you have to be warming those contacts up over a long period of time. So if you're sending 0 today, September 29th, do not send somebody 30 emails in the month of November. I guess send some 20. You have to slowly warm up that audience in order to make sure that you're hitting the inbox. You have anything on this, Andrew?
So not really. I mean, I think when I'm thinking of frequency, I'm thinking of, so obviously we work with a wide variety, right? So we work with brands that do daily sends through Q4 and then all the way to like 2 or 3 times a day during this high growth period. That said, I do find that aggregately looking at it, that's not necessarily the best possible way to go about it. I think that the more normal, comfortable cadence across pretty much all brands should be about 2 to 3 emails. And then you can develop additional emails that are for high frequency, highly engaged groups in order to kind of push for additional conversions. So I think that that's getting a little bit too much in the weeds, but I also don't think that daily sending is a recommendation for somebody just starting off or somebody that's like building up from scratch during this time. But maybe daily sending for 7 days from like the day before Thanksgiving straight through could make a lot of sense. But definitely just be conscientious about what you're doing. Make sure that you're going in with a strategic plan and don't exactly copy what somebody else is doing. Try and think through for yourself what you think could be the highest value, and then think through what your best offers are, and then think through how you would like to portray those best offers while still building your brand along the way. Jackie, you broke down how many emails a little bit more thoroughly with the correct bullets, I think. And everybody will get this presentation afterwards, so they'll be able to utilize it if they'd like to. But do you want to explain this in more detail?
Yeah, so if you have a usual cadence, I would say October, push it up about 25% more. Like when I said 9 was crazy, I meant 9 was crazy. Like it's crazy. So, and if you're in November, push it up about 50% more than your current normal cadence. And then December, drop it back down to that 25% that you were using in October. I think that's a really good way to just like ramp up and then ramp back down. And it's pretty expected throughout the inbox throughout this period of time without overdoing it. So I'd say 25 to 50% throughout Q4, a little bit more, can be very, very helpful. And I have a lot of different things in here on segmentation and how we would structure things. And we'll talk about those in a slide that breaks down frequently used segments. Oh, right here. Wow. Here it is.
Surprise!
Great. The last thing in here is how to segment that list that I'm just talking about right now of, okay, so we're like, how many times should I send to these people? We've established 25 to more on Q4 only. And then who should I be sending to? So I really am a big fan of you should be sending to who you have been sending to. But mostly, if those people are people who are in an audience that's been unengaged for over 6 months, I would say you could probably stop sending to them now. If they've never clicked, opened, or purchased an email, you probably shouldn't be sending to them. If you've sent to them for like 6 months or something like that, they've never even opened it, probably don't send to those people. I would consider them to be unengaged dead contacts that are totally ready to be re-engaged on a separate platform. So like take the list out of your ESP and retarget them on a different in a different place. I'd say your most engaged audience is anybody who has signed up, clicked, opened, or purchased in the last 180 days, which is the last 6 months. They've recently acquired, I think joined in the last 3 months is fine. You can push it up to joined in the last 6 months. And then anyone who's in that VIP audience, so like VIP program loyalty members that you might have. So anyone who's really been super engaged in the last up to 90 days, and then people who have previously purchased as well, I would consider in like a VIP audience. Special treatment for people who are kind of hitting in this Black Friday, Cyber Monday. If people purchased with you over Black Friday, Cyber Monday of last year, I would consider them to be people who are viable contacts to come back and purchase. Never go in there, and if somebody's already opted out, they're not a viable contact anymore, so keep that in mind. But if they still are opted in, even if they haven't been engaged in the last year, there is a probability that if they purchased last year, then they are looking for that offer that is your best offer. Some people do only come in and buy once a year, so definitely dig back into that group. But that's pretty much as far as I would go with like purchasers or extending it past like 6 months. If you really feel like your product is a product that, like, I have a gifting client, and we focus on like gifting his birthday every single year, or we're gifting for holiday every single year. So we think a year is the right timeline for them. But if you don't have a product that's like that, if you have like a shorter frequency, then that is something to keep in mind when you are establishing what your audience should be. So I'd say your medium and low engaged audiences are anyone who's clicked, opened, or purchased within that last year. Mail to them sparingly, proceed cautiously, and then purchasers over all time. A lot of people do like to dig into that purchasers over all time. So it's like, okay, I've been up in business for 3 years. I want to send to anybody who's ever purchased. I would say proceed really, really cautiously, because if somebody's like not been engaged or not opened your email since they purchased, there's a chance that they might not have liked your product, and not in an offensive way, but you might not want to be mailing to them 3 years later about something that's not relevant to them anymore. All of these, and then the unengaged, and Hans just put something in here. Anyone who's joined your list but literally never taken any action, bail. Don't send them. If they haven't done anything for 6 months after literally, so they went onto your site, they signed up, and they never even opened like your welcome flow or something like that, and they never even opened your like other emails that you were sending them every single month, I'd say they're non-viable. My final things on special treatment is just like, if you have like customer lifetime value thresholds of like people who have spent over X amount of dollars with you over a period of time, those could qualify for like a special VIP group. Individuals who have been in your cart or browse abandon flows but have never purchased, those could qualify as like a wider time frame. People who have like expected dates of next order. I know that a couple of different ESPs offer like predictive analytics, so you can dig into that. And then anything like geographic segmentation, I know the graphic segmentation if you want to do male or female gift guides, but geographic is really, really cool because if you have people who are in like the United States or the UK and you have different shipping cutoff times, those would be really great opportunities to target like pre-holiday period of time. Are we saying somebody who is non-viable ends up giving you a bad rating to the email service? Yes. So if you continue, so basically when I look at unengaged and I put the word warning above it, I am always like paying attention to what the rules are. So like even 6 months is kind of stretching it for Gmail. Gmail really only wants you to be sending to people who are engaged in the last 3. Beyond that, Hotmail and Yahoo really accept anything between that 6 and 12 month period of time, but you just have to be really, really careful that your deliverability is spot on, because the last thing you want to do is end up in spam because you're emailing to somebody who signed up for your list and never opened something for like a year.
A good thought process when you're thinking about deliverability also is that the ISPs like Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, etc., they actually have the option that if somebody hasn't opened up their email for at least 6 months, then they could make that email address into a spam trap. So what happens is if you send to someone who is never opened their email in 6 months, then your email could literally shut down your deliverability to Gmail until you prove yourself worthy of being able to deploy out email again to them, which obviously would be catastrophic during this time. So when we're thinking about list maintenance and list health, what we're really talking about is sending the highest quality messages to the people who want to hear from you. And the reason why we're recommending that not only is because that makes you a better person, but also simultaneously, it prevents you from falling into the ditch that is deliverability right during kind of the prime time of the year when you could be gathering the most revenue.
And
maybe that was too alliterative.
Tell you, even a bad Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where they've they've run into problems over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then they've come to Tenuity and been like, we need your help. It's taken us 6+ months into the next year to get them out of like blacklists, like bad deliverability holes. So really pay attention to it. Deliverability is the most important thing in email. It's more important than your content.
Yeah, and I think deliverability resolution could be, I think the minimum is normally 30, 45 days, and then up to 6 months typically, when we're kind of going through and sorting everything out. So ideally, you just don't veer off the road in that way, and we never have to discuss it again. So next, well, wait, there's more.
No way.
There's more indeed. Just when everybody thought maybe we'll log off, maybe we can have a quiet evening thinking about Jackie and Andrew and email strategy. We've got just a little bit more for you. So Jackie, take it away.
Basically, the last thing that we have here is, yes, you have your curated content calendars, but you also have your lifecycle campaigns that would include browse abandoned cart, welcome series that are all part of Q4 messaging. So if you are planning on offering offers throughout this period of time, all of the content that's going to be firing should align. So like 70% of your carts will be abandoned. And a lot of people do have abandoned cart offers live. It's typically not as good as your best offer in an abandoned cart. So what we encourage people to do is at least do something to help smooth out this customer experience. The same thing with welcome and onboarding series that do help drive that revenue. When somebody does sign up for your list for the first time during Black Friday, it's not made up yet. We want to deliver them the current offer that is live. So just making note of that and taking note of that by adding a banner and doing something along those lines, or completely swapping up your welcome series can be really helpful. It's the same thing with any overlays that we talked about, like with Just Uno and Privy. Updating those to reflect the offer that you're offering live on the site can be really, really helpful. And then we have a 22% back in stock conversion rate. So definitely anything that you can do to prepare those flows as well can be very, very helpful.
Indeed. And so, Jackie, I don't have very many resources. I can't make 35 new emails in the next 30 days. What do I do?
You just go into canva.com and you make a banner. Unless you have design resources, and obviously ask your designer to do it. But Canva is a really easy, quick place that you can make a banner and load any of your series, and it can just be the same exact banner on every single thing. That's it. It's that easy.
And well, thank you so much, Jackie. I really, really loved that, how we discussed determining what promotion works best, how to stand out in the inbox, what emails we should be sending, and then a little bit about list segmentation. So we massively appreciate y'all and are happy to really answer any questions that you might have, preferably about this topic. However, we might be a little bit flexible. So let us know how we can be helpful for you, and we'll hang on here for a few additional minutes. I guess before I address that, I'll say that you can reach out to us at partners@tenuity.com if you are interested in exploring services or learning more about us or anything to that extent. However, let us know. I mean, we're happy to address anything here. Hans will also be posting all of this information in the Facebook group that he has established for Shopify LA Growth Lab. And then in addition to that, we'll be sending out an email as well to everybody that's registered with the link. So there's a couple different ways that you'll be able to get it.
Cool. I'm not seeing any like big questions come in. It's time. Drop them in the chat if you got any left.
What about post-holiday emails? Which day can we start? The answer to that, I believe, is immediately. So I guess there's two things. So I think that the question may have been December 25th or January 1st thinking about. But if it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think that maintaining continuity while decreasing makes a lot of sense. And then I think in Q1, January is a huge time of the year because let's say that you got 20 items and 5 of them you are returning. Some of those you're going to return for a Visa gift card. Some of them you're going to return for something else in that same location. And then otherwise, you may have some additional funds because you didn't get what you wanted. So I think that maintaining communication early in January is definitely critical. And then building out that regular cadence of communication so that you're maintaining those relationships. And you're not just showing up saying, hey, we've got the biggest deal on the planet ever, take advantage right now. You're actually maintaining a relationship over time.
Yeah, one of my favorite emails is that December 26th email. Now what you wanted. It's a post-holiday like letdown that you can go and actually shop for yourself. So that's some great messaging to start using like just the day after.
And yes, this will be sent to you immediately after, not immediately after the presentation, but Hans will post it into the Shopify LA Facebook group, and then I'll also email out separately, likely tomorrow or the next day. So Dario asks, any suggestions for brands recently starting from zero on increasing the mailing list first of all? So if you were starting from scratch with absolutely nothing, Jackie, what would you do in order to grow your email list?
I would definitely try to boost my site traffic and set up a overlay and a footer sign up on my site. So just like Andrew mentioned earlier, based on your site traffic, those overlays can get anywhere between 3 to 10% conversion rate depending on the offer. Have seen 10% offer get 3%. I've seen like a 30% offer get 10%. So it really depends on the offer that you have up there. But you can start to get a percentage. Just basically funneling people onto your site and getting that site traffic is key. And you can do that through social media sites. You can do that through Google display ads. You can do it through a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and I think that that's valid. I think that when you're thinking about the value proposition of your business, you also need to think what value are they getting in exchange for giving you their email address. So I do think that from like the information marketing world, if you may not want to like discount your product immediately coming out the gate or your business coming out the gate or something to that extent. Maybe doing a guide or some like deep research about your industry or your specific vertical or the interest that you're already targeting for like a free download or some content or something can make a lot of sense as well for getting people to sign up. The other thing is that traffic is going to be the determining factor. When they're on your site, interstitials are going to be a percentage of your traffic. So email signups are going to come with traffic. So hopefully you get enough traffic to give you conversions, which puts money in your bank. And then in addition to that, you're getting email signups that enable you to actually market to them a little bit more heavily. So the ideal way is that the traffic, conversion, email, retention piece all works as one cohesive flywheel. But getting that up and running for the first time, obviously, is the most challenging portion of it. So definitely, I mean, there's a lot of different options, but interstitials and making sure that they can sign up on Facebook, sign up through a link on Instagram, etc.
I have would a change up to the layout of my email help our customers? Becky feels are sitting in views. So click rate is the test that you would want to run, and anything that you decide to switch up, I'd say isolate it and test it, A/B test it between 2 different audiences to see if the changes that you make are going to help. I email my list twice a week based on a blog. How do I transition into interleaving Canvas style with graphs with minimal text? Okay, so she does maybe it's text-based emails that are happening right now, and we're looking into doing like graphic-based emails. I would say it's totally fine to like just make the switch. People are used to seeing graphic-based emails. I don't think they're going to be like, oh my God, it's not text-based. People are pretty used to it. So if you decide to use Canva to do like Canva-style graphs and things like that with minimal text, I think visuals are always great. Is there a way to check if your emails are in the deliverability ditch? Andrew, do you have software that can help?
So you broke up a little bit there, but I'm assuming that you asked. I'm assuming that was a succinct question that I missed a little bit of. But at the core, so your ESP will notify you potentially on if there are spam issues or if there are deliverability issues. Now that said, depending on your volume and your revenue from email, it may make sense to invest in a technology that enables you to get better insights, which is what we use. We use something called 250OK, which is owned by Validity, as well as Return Path. Return Path is kind of like the most premium, most expensive, so probably not optimal for everyone, but 250OK gives you really good insights from seedless that you can deploy out emails to, and then you could see across these 3,000, 5,000 email addresses, how many are going where within, so we can monitor deliverability. That said, you can rely on your ESP to give you some insights. And then if you start seeing red flags is when you should really start taking a deeper look.
Totally. Would it be better offering a discount code or marking down prices and no code? It depends on your brand. I'm such a discount code person. Like, I think so a discount code is a really great way to get people to put everything into the cart and apply all the code all at once. If you don't do that, then you run the risk of people not adding things to your cart, so they don't see the whole entire total calculate. So then you have a lower probability of getting an abandoned cart. So if they don't convert on the sale, then it's just a browse abandon. It's not a cart abandon. So keep that in mind when you're making that.
Yeah, and I actually, so I do think that it's probably worth testing. That said, I tend to agree. So I'm always thinking about like, how are we building customer lifetime value? So I think that obviously like getting a highly discounted sale makes sense, and taking advantage of Black Friday, Cyber Monday is significant. But really what I want us to be collecting subscribers, converting subscribers, and then making those subscribers customers for life. And so with that at the back of my head, I'm always thinking the same exact thing, which is why I like the buy more, save more option. It's also why I think discount codes, same exact thing. We're putting 5, 6 things in our cart, and then we're trying to get a discount on all of them. And maybe we want to throw in this last thing that we weren't going to get anyway, because we can get more of a discount, and then we can get an additional tier and stuff. So I think that always thinking about like, how do you make it more enticing for them to add more to their cart is definitely something that you want to keep in mind consistently.
Cool. Drew, took up a reset after recently launching as a new business. How many emails do you send as you build?
So the question is, can you repeat the question actually? So
recently launched, took a moment to reset, like they recently launched, but then decided to take a pause. As a new business, how many emails do you send as you build your list?
So this is something, so here at Tenuity, we actually have a growth, strategic growth email team. And the way that it's set up is actually to do 1 email per week and then like 1 initiative per month. I think that's bare minimum. But I do think that starting from scratch, it just depends. If list growth is a big part of your plan, you have to think about your business as your full like kind of marketing flywheel. So you have your traffic, you have your conversion, and you have your retention. So I'm going to tell you that traffic and conversion matters a lot more early on in your business, and retention matters a lot more later on in your business. So early on, collect those email addresses, get a minimum viable messages out there, still take advantage of trying to get conversions off of them. But really what you're doing is you need to get more traffic, because you need to prove that you can scale your business properly. And that's traffic and conversion based. Retention just comes in. Now we want to expand and deliver customer lifetime value. So that's where retention becomes the most dominant player in the acquisition game, and really makes a big difference. So by all means, keep growing your list, but don't think that you need to send 30 emails immediately a month. You can start off at a low cadence, really plan out that calendar, like sit down and like plan out a calendar for 3 months or something, high level, review it with your best marketing friend and have them approve it, and then go to town on building that all up at once instead of worrying about it every single week and procrastinating and stuff like that, which can be really sloppy. So this is a big growth time period, so make sure that you're doing growth related activities. And if email isn't that top activity, that's fine. But just know what your priorities are going into it. I think that was not selling email, but I think that it's the right answer.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. And then I missed the part where you guys talk about how you make people feel VIP during October. Could we give a brief overview? Yes. So basically you want to use your tools such as loyalty programs. You also want to use your opportunities in your overlays to say, if you sign up today for our email list, you can get exclusive access to Black Friday, Cyber Monday offers. You can also do click to go VIP, where if they click a specific link, you can put them on a VIP list and count it as an opt-in to that VIP list. A lot of different ways. It's like in the middle. So if you want to take a look at that later, that should probably have all the information that you're kind of looking for. I have different tactics, and you can pick out the ones that fit your brand best. My client has a large distribution list of past patients. The online store only sells products related to their it's a dermatologist practice, to their aesthetic center. Does it make sense to purge the list of inactive subscribers across the board?
I mean, so I think that not necessarily. I mean, if people are not, I guess, what's the cadence of communication? If they're patients and they're in a patient, center, then that's kind of like a HIPAA question in regard to how do they want to go about like rescheduling like those appointments or getting those patients re-engaged, which might be a little bit differently. If this list is predominantly built on selling products, then anybody that hasn't actually engaged to any extent, you definitely want to exclude probably. But I do think that it's more a question of what is the purpose of that list. Is that purpose to get people to come in for patient services? Is it to get them to go to the store? And also, how old is this list, and how long have people been actively disengaged, et cetera? I mostly am concerned about like the medical, I guess, like HIPAA compliance, as well as simultaneously making sure that we're delivering them a quality experience.
Cool, that helped. Dan asks, we run a weekly newsletter to our subscriber base, which consists of new products, back in stock, product features. Would running promotions in these newsletters as well as independently later in the week be too much? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
in the first email. I think independently later is going to hit a little bit harder, and I think people will be interested in that.
And think about it this way. So this is a time when you are coming to the table with something big and special and just ideal for your client base to take advantage of, and the largest discount that you're offering. Like, this is a big deal. Get a sneak peek. Like, listen to what we have to offer. You're a VIP customer. Like, these are things that people want to hear about. And also, Dan, think about this scenario that for the last 365 days or maybe 2 years, you've sent one email per week, but right now, you just start sending 2 emails per week, and that additional email is like a stellar offer that's really changing their mind about like the potentiality of your brand. So I think that you can definitely add some sauce on top of that chicken to make it extra tasty.
Yeah, I think that's always a great idea. People are somebody on engaging with your emails, I think, wants to know your content. And I think this is also that social media thing that, like, you kind of always think that people are looking at you, but they're really not. Like, you spend like, I don't know, 30 minutes writing your Instagram caption and somebody gives it 3 seconds of their attention. So like, I wouldn't sit around and be like, oh, I'm so nervous. People are going to notice I send 1 time a week and now I send 2 sometimes. Like, it's not going to like make or break. Like, I would just say people aren't paying that close of attention. I'd say if you start to email so much that it becomes like overwhelming to their inbox, then yes, people will start paying attention. But twice a week does not sound like too much to me.
And so are there email issues with graphic image sizes? Do you have the sizes memorized?
It's 1,200 pixels wide. We typically design in. So whenever you're in an email, you want it to be double the width of an email. So an email is 600 pixels wide. So double that. So 1,200 pixels in that canvas, and then any type of length you can go forward with. Basically, it doesn't matter height-wise, just width.
And then there was a question previously in regards to like refer a friend. I can't find it, or I don't know where it was. But basically, like Smile.io is a great option. We also use Yotpo Loyalty, which is what Swell Rewards was previously. And those technologies are widely utilized across our organization and structure for building loyalty programs as well as refer a friend programs.
What do you think about marketing for art?
Does that mean for fun, or that it's actually art that you're selling?
It's actually art.
I believe marketing is an art. So I mean, so I think that it's, once again, are we talking about bespoke, unique, one of a kind, handmade, homemade sort of items, right? And if so, then I mean, what do you want to hear when you're looking at like a gorgeous painting that somebody spent 200 hours on? I mean, what you want to hear is you want to hear what their vision was, what the feelings that they were having while they were defining and describing it, and what the storyline is of what they painted or created. So I do think that that marketing is really like storytelling plus influence and persuasion. So if you want people to buy your art, I would recommend marketing your art. If you want people to not buy your art, then I would recommend not marketing it at all whatsoever.
Yeah, and I would also think about the text on the back of the wine bottle in regards to art. It talks about the notes, it talks about the seasonality, it talks about like what was going on, and it frames the whole entire story of what type of experience you're going to be enjoying from a bottle, and I think that's very relevant to art.
Yeah, and when you're thinking of, whatever art it is, also when you're thinking of packaging, like what's the experience that you're giving to someone when they're opening something up? What's the experience that you're trying to convey in this piece that you're creating? And I think it's very significant in order to be largely invested in creating those stories and really communicating it as best as you possibly can. And people are very interested in subscribing to your recommended. I like that we recommended a non-client to subscribe to. You know, if you guys need to subscribe to someone, make sure it's not a client of ours.
Like they're not a client. I'm sorry. It's hard sometimes, but they really are great. I mean, a couple other non-clients that are really great that I think everybody needs to subscribe to are Reformation. Everybody needs to subscribe to Reformation because they just have great tone. I don't copy them, but like just learn from what they do and how they put it together. Glossier is a really other good one. Here, I will type them. Glossier is a makeup brand where like they have this Instagram where you just like watch people put on the makeup and it's like really visually appealing. And then some of our clients that you do want to actually subscribe to as well are clients that we mentioned up in the front, and I will let Andrew list them off because he knows them. Like Pura Vida is a really great one to like look into. They're a great case study. A lot of people do try to copy Pura Vida. So once again, I just like to like suggest clients because I think a lot of people try to do the same exact thing just because they're doing it well. But keep that in mind that it's a great case study and you can employ a lot of their strategies, but just try not to employ like designs and stuff like that. Like be yourself. Yeah, Bombas, Blenders, all of them are like really high key case studies for like excellent email.
100%. And so have we, it looks like all of the most recent messages are either Hans, you, or I. So
I think it's it.
I think that people's cup runneth over, potentially.
with information. Yes.
Have you come across sustainable fashion brands, and are they staying completely out of Black Friday, Cyber Monday to avoid upsetting some of their eco-conscious customers, or they always take a part? Sustainable fashion brands. So I feel like this is something that I've really thought about a tremendously large amount. So you have so there are people that do not market on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. REI made a huge statement and impact by doing their opt-out campaign or opt-outside campaign. And that is still permeates today. You still see people posting on it, literally not during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and every single year it is drilled back in. And that is brilliant marketing, by all means. That is hugely impactful, game-changing, branded marketing that impacts people. I think that closing or not doing something on Thanksgiving or Black Friday or Cyber Monday makes a lot of sense for some brands and for some brand personalities. And that could work for you as well, potentially. Now, that said, I think that when you're talking about sustainable fashion, or you're talking about like brands that do have some sort of like eco-friendliness, I mean, is buying something that's eco-friendly less ethical if you buy it on a holiday versus buy like on sale, or if you don't buy it on sale, or something to that extent? You have to think of like, when I'm thinking of like conscious capitalism, or I'm thinking of the, evolved enterprise, and I'm thinking of doing well by doing good, B Corps, I'm thinking that my purchasing of their products and are actually beneficial to the world in almost all circumstances. And I think that is what those business models are designed around. So I do think REI opt-outside campaign is absolutely brilliant, and it works for them, and it works for their employees, and it's probably better for the universe in general. But I do think that it was also still a marketing campaign, if that makes sense. Did I go off?
It was, and I think no, I mean, you went into the correct place in the deep end, though. I mean, there's also Giving Tuesday is a really good way if you want to be a part of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then kind of come back to your roots and your home on Giving Tuesday, which is the day after Cyber Monday, and focus on your pillars of sustainability and things along those lines, and how you're going to give back, and the percentage of your proceeds that you're donating to whatever cause that means something to your brand. I think that's a really nice way to tie it back while still participating.
Yeah, and we've worked with a lot of brands that are very, very philanthropic in nature and built as organizations that are designed around philanthropy, not just occasionally philanthropic, but literally like it's a core part of their marketing. So they may do discounts, or they may, instead of doing a discount, they'll say 25% of all proceeds will go directly to this cause. And we've seen that historically this year and others with like the fires, with like major issues that are going on, with anything that the founders deem is kind of appropriate. It makes sense, it makes sense. Happy vandalism, yo. Happy vandalism. So I think that definitely knowing your market is a critical component of it, and being conscientious of what you're saying and how you're saying it. But early on, you're just starting a business and you don't want to do a sale, like just build your brand. That's fine.
For sure. If you can't tell, Andrew and I are really into sustainability because we've previously lived in our vehicle. Oh,
yeah. But I'm back in the McMansion. I'm back in the McMansion.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
Word. All right. Well,
I don't think we have anything else.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate all of the kind words. Thank you for the 70 of you who let your computer keep running and went to the bathroom and never came back. We appreciate you. And thanks again to Hans for putting all this together without his blood, sweat, and tears. none of this would get done. So if you can give him a LinkedIn recommendation, a high five, and send him a friendly email, I think we'd be immensely grateful for it as well. Y'all, thank you very much, and hope you have an incredible, powerful, lucrative, successful, sustainable Q4. Bye, Jackie.
Bye.